Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on my 3 best games in recent years. There have been so many incredible games that have been out over the past few years, to the point that I'd go as far as to say that this has been one of the most prominent times in gaming ever. Aside from just games, we've had the release of the Nintendo Switch, which I think has absolutely revolutionized gaming in such an amazing new way, and it just keeps on getting better and better. Now, first of all, these aren't going to be in-depth reviews on any of these games, but rather a summary on what the games are about and why they are my top games out of all the titles that have been out over the past few years. Now, even though I've rounded up 3 at the top, it was still very hard to put them each in their place, because I think they could all easily be number 1. But without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. At number 3, we have The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. The first ever Legend of Zelda game I ever played was Ocarina of Time, and that game is probably my favorite game of all time. It left such an impression on me when I was younger that no other game has really done before, and it basically sealed my love for video games. Fast forward to now, and having played more Zelda games over the years, we got Breath of the Wild, which came as a launch title for the Nintendo Switch and just straight blew me away. I have no faults with this game whatsoever, and I don't think I've ever seen a game get as many perfect scores as much as Breath of the Wild did, and continues to do. You play as Link, who wakes up from his 100-year slumber and has a main goal of defeating the entity known as Calamity Ganon, and that's basically it. One of the areas where this game really shines is how it just lets you do whatever you want. You spend very little time getting accustomed to the game, with a very cleverly fleshed out tutorial area called the Great Plateau, and it doesn't even feel like a tutorial at all. And after that, you're literally free to go about and explore the game however you want, and even go straight for the main boss if you want to. Breath of the Wild doesn't tell you a lot, and that's what's great about it. The feeling of discovering things by yourself and in your own time. Aside from it being just a straight up amazing game, you can play wherever you want to in handheld mode, on the Switch, on the train, on a plane, and even on the toilet. While you're dropping bombs in real life, you can drop them in the game at the same time. Breath of the Wild absolutely changed the game in such a fantastic way and quickly became unforgettable. And as if that isn't enough, we recently got a teaser for Breath of the Wild 2, and there's no doubt that it's going to be just as memorable as the first one. So at number 2, we have Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the first things that blew me away about this game was the graphics and generally just how incredible it looked. But then as I got into the game, what started to hit me all the way through till the end was the attention to detail. How many games do you know that has realistic horse testicle physics that even shrink when you're in cold weather? From leaving precise prints in things like snow and mud, or how carrying the body of an animal you've killed leaves bloodstains on you, or how water currents carry bodies downstream, to even having someone's leg or arm blown off realistically with a shotgun blast. The level of detail in this game is outstanding, but nothing compared to its most incredible feat, and that is the story. You play as Arthur Morgan, a man with a very troubled past and upbringing, who is a key member in a gang of outlaws run by a man named Dutch van der Linde, who is a very clever and sharp-tongued man who practically raised Arthur from a young age after finding him. Each member of the gang all have their own rich backgrounds and stories, and in a way, a kind of a family, as twisted and strange as they are. It's a story about morality, trust and choices, and ultimately redemption, down to the fact that even the smallest insignificant choices you make in the game all add up to the sort of outcomes you'll see, which ultimately makes every little thing not so insignificant. And that's what makes this such an incredible game. Your choices lead to what kind of ending you get when you find yourself nearing the end of the game. Being the most impressive work from Rockstar Games, Red Dead Redemption will definitely go down in history as one of the best games of all time. And finally, at number 1, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I first got into the Witcher series with The Witcher 2 Assassin of Kings on the Xbox 360. I had no prior knowledge about the books or about the first Witcher game, and needless to say, I had no idea what I was missing. Immediately after starting The Witcher 2, I was blown away first of all by the amount of detail in the story. Of course, having no knowledge of the books written by a Polish fantasy writer, Andrzej Sapkowski. The gameplay and the game choices really blew me away, and after completing the game, I realized I just had one of the most enjoyable moments in gaming that I've ever experienced. Fast forward to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and I was so excited for it. Upon hearing the announcement of The Witcher 3, I was immediately excited, and as soon as it was available, so I had my pre-order copy sorted. This was of course after following the game for months prior and being assured it would be worth every penny, thanks largely because of the transparency of CD Projekt Red. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster slayer who is searching for his adopted daughter, Ciri, whose incredible power has her on the run from the Wild Hunt, who are seeking to use that power no matter the cost to her. Come May 19th, 2015, everything was ready to go, and first and foremost, I was so blown away by the game and so invested in it that I just couldn't wait to get back on whenever I was away from home. The game was extremely detailed, robust and expansive that every time I would enter a new region it felt so believable and organic. Everything seemed just right. The occurrences in each region matched the political and cultural status of that region. The NPCs all seem to have their own lives and routines, that even though I was playing as a badass mutated monster slayer, I never felt like a hero or a world changer, and I think that's due to the fact that that's what the game wants you to realize. Your actions, no matter how big or small, wasn't essential to the world of The Witcher 3 because everything would still fall into place, but at the same time every decision felt like it mattered and individually unique in its own right. In my first playthrough, I played every side mission and activity that I could, but still couldn't wait to jump back into the game once I completed it, simply because I knew I would experience a whole new, different and unique gameplay the second time around, depending on what decisions I made the second time. The main characters in the game were exceptionally great and all felt very convincingly weaved into the life of Geralt, as well as their own. My favorite characters in the main game were Ciri and Dijkstra, not including characters from both the main expansions, which I will get into soon. Voice acting was also fantastic. Moving on to the expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood of Wine. Let me just start off by saying I've never felt quite as much of a thief as I felt when playing these two expansions, and I call them expansions because that's exactly what they were. Not once did either of them feel like they were unfinished portions of the main game, rather they expanded on what was already there, which was an amazing experience and fully fleshed out content within them. The city of Toussaint in particular was just phenomenal. The ambience and the NPCs were so amazing, and it honestly felt like it could have been a whole game all by itself. Characters like Regis and Dettlaff were so captivating every time they were around. Another section of the Blood and Wine expansion that I really loved was the Enchanted Land in the Beyond Hill and Dale mission. I loved it so much that I created a save for it so I could go back to it whenever I wanted to. Another amazing save I created was for one of the endings of the main storyline, which landed you in a snow-covered white orchard. CD Projekt Red undoubtedly did something incredible that set a high standard for video games as a whole. The amount of content and the way they were delivered was so incredible that so many games still struggle to achieve that same sort of thing. If this video was a review, I would give The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt a 10 out of 10. It's something that's left a huge staple both in gaming in general and to me personally. I absolutely love this game, and if for whatever reason you haven't had the chance to play it, I seriously envy you and urge you to get to it because I can promise that you will not be disappointed. I recently purchased it again on the PS4 after playing it multiple times on the Xbox One, and now we got the news that it'll be coming out on the Nintendo Switch, and you can bet that I'll be getting it a third time simply because, well, obviously it's the Switch. Thank you for checking out the video. If you liked it, give it a like, and if you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace.